What is up, Squared Nation? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos. And today, we're going to have a special double feature on the channel due to the lack of upload yesterday. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go over the Gogeta BR deck that I used in our recent Battle Chamber video. So stay tuned. We're going to get right into the deck profile. So, like I said earlier, we're going to be going over the Gogeta BR deck that I was using in the recent Battle Chamber video against Mass Saiyan. I've been playing this deck for a few weeks now, and I really do like how it plays. You get a lot of advantage on the front side of the leader, and the Gogeta BR archetype itself is just really solid. I don't really think this is going to be my final build 100%. I feel like I could make a few changes to make it a little more... I would say archetype specific, but the funny thing about the Gogeta BR archetype is all of the cards that were released in set 6 for Gogeta BR, if you take everything and you add it up together, it's more than 50 cards. So you do have to make a few adjustments as far as your ratios are concerned. But I think I got a pretty solid build here. The deck is pretty aggressive, I would say, especially early on, before your leader is awakened. You can put a lot of pressure with your one drops, you know, your Vekus and stuff like that. And then once you get your big boss monster out, it is, you know, pretty difficult to get around him unless you're playing certain cards. So without further ado, we're gonna kind of get right into it here. So the leader itself is Son Goku and Vegeta on the front side. It's a 10k leader on the front. It awakens at 4 life, 4 or less, and you can untap 1 and draw 1 card. So it's one of the new awakening mechanics. Its activate main is you can discard 1 Gogeta BR or Goku BR, and as long as there's 1 in your drop area, you can draw 2 cards and then take up to 1 of your life and add it to your hand. So the draw 2 is mandatory, but taking from life is optional. So you don't essentially have to take life if you don't want to self-awaken. There are instances if you're playing against super aggressive decks that you want to stay at a high life total because you do play really good defensive cards, which we'll get into. But if you want to, expedite your awakening, you can control when you awaken. And leaders that can control the turn that they awaken are very, very dangerous because you can extend your plays. Now, I feel like if this leader was an untapped 2, it would be super busted, but I feel like they balanced it out by giving it the untap 1, draw 1, because there's not really much explosive plays you can make for 1 energy. But it's still pretty good. And then on the awakened side, it's Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta Fusion Perfected. It's a 15k auto draw, but its activate main is you can discard a red card from your hand, and if you have at least 2 Goku BR and 2 Vegeta BR in your drop area, he can gain 5k in double strike, and your opponent cannot activate counter cards that cost 2. So they can't preemptive, they can't Mafuba. If anyone's playing it, they can't recruit Eraser Gun. So there's just a lot of extra cards that are 2 or more that are counters that they can't be played. So it's really good because it can... Mafuba is really powerful right now because it literally slows you down for 2 turns. So being able to get around Mafuba is actually pretty good. So, and also getting 5k double strike is really nice. So that's so much for the leader, and I'm just going to kind of get right into it here. As you can see, we're starting off the deck with 2 Legics. Now, the reason I'm playing 2 Legics is because all of your Gogeta BR cards, when you play them on the board, at the end of the turn, they bounce back to your hand. So, essentially, you're not ever going to have a field, and if your opponent, it puts pressure on the board or they try to build a board presence, you can free play your Legics, and you can use them offensively and defensively. Legic is one of those pretty versatile cards, which I played a lot in Pan for that same reason, but it just really gets its shine here in Gogeta BR because it's essentially almost live every turn because you're still playing your strategy by playing your filter cards, but you're not committing to the board. So there's always going to be an area where you can play Legic and you can get value from it. Next, we're playing the One Planet M2. I really like this card right now. A lot of people are playing the skillless Goku deck, and just Planet M2 for their 1-drop Goku or their 1-drop Aandroidd 8 is really, really good right now. Just being able to get rid of those threats, because they are threats, and they might not be offensive threats, but they're utility threats. And just being able to get rid of those cards and have your opponent have to continue to get them to play them is pretty good. Also, most or all, essentially all of your Goku and Vegetas are 10k attackers. The 2-drop Goku does have an active main that he gains 5k, but essentially they're all 10k attackers, so they don't pressure Awakened Leaders. So if you have to make a play where you have to play one of your little guys so you can scry for, another card, having M2 on the board makes it pressure your opponent's leader because you're reducing them by 5k, and then you can combo up into it to do more damage if needed. M2 just has really good synergy with this deck. Obviously, it's a red deck, so I think it has a good spot. I was trying it at 2, but deck space is kind of tight, so I felt like, if you see it early, it's really good. If not, you just charge it late, and then you don't have nothing to worry about. It's a really bad card to draw off if you're trying to defensive combo, but if you open M2, it's a really good turn 1 play. Next, we're playing 2 After Image Technique, self-explanatory, sparking 5 negate. You can take a life and you can reduce one of your opponent's battle cards by 10k and give one of yours plus 40k, so it's just really good defense. Then we have 2 of Preemptive Strike Super Saiyan God Goku. He is auto sparking 2. When you play this card, you look at the top 5 for a Gogeta BR or a Vegeta BR, and then if you add a card to your hand, you have to discard a card. So it's pretty good, to get your pieces. You do draw a lot in this deck, so you'll most likely see them, but if you're trying to get your Gogeta pieces, these cards are really good. He also has to activate main once per turn. He gains 5k for the duration of the turn. So he's essentially a 2-drop 15k, which is really good, because like I said, they're mostly 10k, so they don't do pressure. But you swing with him, and then the good part is, all of the Goku and Vegeta BRs have the same permanent effect where they return to your hand at the end of the turn. So that's pretty good. You're essentially negging a battle card on the board, but you're essentially refueling your hand by 2. So it's not that bad. And then we have the 1-drop Son Goku, which is 1-drop 10k, which is great for a 1-drop, especially early on. It's top 3 for a Veku or a Vegeta BR. And same thing, at the end of the turn, it bounces back to your hand. Then we have our 4 Goten super combos. It's not a sparking, it's a 4 or less super combo, so when you're at 4 or less, you just draw. It is a free 10k, so it always has the 10k combo power, but you'll draw if you're at 4 or less. Whoa, let's fix that there, that looks weird. Sorry about that. Then we have 2 Preemptive Strike Vegetas. It's a 2-drop sparking 2 auto. Look at the top 5 for a Gogeta BR or a Goku BR. Same thing. Add it to your hand and discard a card. But then its activate main is once per turn, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and reduce it by 5k. So again, it's another good card to play against the skillless deck. I mean, the 1-drop Goku doesn't have barrier, but if your opponent's playing any pesky little, like, let's say your opponent wants to play the Striving to be the Best Son Goku has barrier, you can play this Vegeta, give him minus 5k, and then you can run it over with Veku, because he swings at active units. So it's pretty good. It has a lot of synergy. Vegeta seems to be the more controlled defensive card, and then Goku just seems to be the more aggro attack card. I'm not playing the 3-drop Harmonics, which is the Goku and the Vegeta. I just don't feel like I have the space in this build for them. I am revisiting those cards because I think that they are good in their own right, and they should be played in the deck. I just have to restructure my ratios a little bit, especially now, getting my hands on the tournament pack promo Vekus. That card is just ridiculously good for this deck. So that's another thing I'll have to consider, adjusting the ratios for. But I do think there's room in this deck for the harmonic cards, the 3-drops. I just haven't found what cards I want to take out for it just yet. But so far, I'm liking the ratios and the utility of these cards, because they pretty much give you a controllable situation, that you can kind of just finagle your way out of any tough spot. Next, we have the 1-drop Vegeta, which is top 3 for a Veku or a Goku. And then we have the Vekus. So the 3-drop Veku is actually really good. What you have to do is Union Fusion, so you discard one Goku, one Vegeta with the same power. They're all 10Ks, so really it's just whatever. You bring him out, and then he has an activate main where you can send him to the drop area, and you could get a Goku BR and a Vegeta BR from your drop and add it to your hand. So essentially you're playing it for free. It's kind of like a cute little swap version, but the best part about it is you're not committing any energy to it, and Veku's just a monster. They do have the permanent that they can only be played once per turn, so you can't just continue to Veku. You can only play that Veku once per turn, and then you can only play the other Veku, the skinny Veku, once per turn. So it's fair, but if you could just keep spamming them out on the board, that would be nuts, because it's a 15k swing every time. And then we have Veku the Fragile. So Veku the Fragile is really interesting. I like him really early game because he swings for 10k, but once your opponent's awakened, it's kind of useless. So he's the same thing. He's Union Fusion for 1 Goku, 1 Vegeta, BR with the same power, and he comes out for free. You don't have to tap for it. His activate main is the same thing. You can send him to the drop to add a Goku BR and a Vegeta BR from your drop to your hand, but he has the added bonus of when you activate that effect, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and reduce it by 10k. So it's pretty good because it has that removal aspect of power reduction. It doesn't get around barrier, but it's pretty. Getting rid of 10k on a battle card is pretty good, because if they're sitting on something that's like 25k or something, and you get rid of 10k, you can swing over it with the other Veku that attacks actives, or there's just a lot of room for that. Baby Vegeta, like the Vegeta baby deck has been so successful because of that, and the attack reduction. So this is along the same lines as that. So those are our Vekus. Like I said, I would definitely add the tournament pack promo into this deck. I just didn't have them on me at the time, but I will definitely rebuild this deck, and I'll do like a final version once I get all the cards. But then your big boss monsters, you have your 8-drop Vegeta or Gogeta. This card is bananas. You can EX evolve him over the 6-drop for free. All you have to do is discard 2 red cards. You don't tap an energy or anything like that. He's a 35k double strike, and his auto, he has 2 autos. One of his autos is when you play this card, if your opponent has no battle cards, you can burn them for 2 life. So they take 2 life and send it directly to the drop. So you just burn them for 2 life, and then auto, when he attacks a battle card, he can restand, and it's not once per turn. So if your opponent has a board full of battle cards, you can just swing at them and just keep restanding and clear their board. It's insane. A 35k double strike that comes out for free is essentially ridiculous. It's such a good card. This archetype specifically is really, really good. There's a lot of synergy with it. It's very skill intensive when playing. You just can't throw cards at your opponent's face, but it's super aggressive, but it's like efficient aggression. It's not like mindless aggression. But I like the card. And then the 6-drop is the best card in the deck, in my opinion. It's a 25k double strike. It's Union Fusion for 4 red energy. So you have to pitch 2 fusion materials, tap 4. But then when he comes out, he draws 2 cards. So you go even on that. You're only tapping energy. So I like to bring this card out on my Awaken turn, so I can untap 1 and draw 1 and have an energy open for defense if I need it, unless I know I'm going for game. And it depends on the cards I have in my hand. Like if I know I can go for game, then I'll bring him out turn 4, Awaken, do what I got to do. And then depending on the situation, I can go into the 7-drop EX Evolve for 1 or the 8-drop EX Evolve for free. So the good thing about this Gogeta is his auto once per turn is when you attack a battle card, you can switch him to active mode. So just you free swing at a battle card, and then if they die, it's great because you can evolve the 8-drop over it and then do damage and swing, or you just kind of pressure your opponent to remove cards from their board. So the good thing that I like to do is when I play the 6-drop, if my opponent does have a board, I'll swing at their battle card and I won't combo, because one of 2 things is going to happen. I'm going to restand with my auto, so I'm going to be in active mode again anyway. They're either going to save that battle card or they're going to let it die. So I'm accomplishing my goals, right? So if they decide to save it, they're going to have to combo X amount of cards to save it, which is fine. I'm in active mode. I'll just EX evolve the 8-drop over for free just by pitching 2 red cards, and when I swing at the battle card, I restand anyway. So if they keep saving that battle card, I can just keep swinging with the 8-drop, and the 8-drop is 35k double strike anyway. So that in combination with the Awakened skill on the leader is 4 damage in 1 turn. So if you can get there efficiently and make your opponent ditch cards for defense, you can essentially win that turn. The 6-drop just gives you a lot of versatility. It's a free 5k combo, which is insane. Being a 6-drop that's a free 5k combo is nuts. This deck does not have a lot of 10ks, so you're really never clogged for anything. It's just a really, really good card, and it's obviously your gateway into your bigger bosses. Then we're playing 3 Is That All You've Got? This card is amazing, but it's super situational if you want to plus off of it properly. So it's a regular red negate for starters, but it does have the added effect to where you can negate the attack and pitch a red card from your hand, and then you can choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards and reduce them by 15k. So if your opponent's going wide, like this punishes Storm. So if your opponent's going wide, you can essentially just stop their whole turn. Otherwise, if they're just swinging at you and creating tempo, it's still a negate for 1. So it's not a bad card in the slightest. I would prefer, you know, if it was like After Image, where it was more versatile. Having to discard a card feels kind of expensive, but that's just me being frugal. But I think the split that I have, the 3-2 split with my negates, I'm playing 5 negates in total and some defensive combo cards. I think it's a pretty good ratio as far as that goes. And then I am playing the 1 7-drop Gogeta the Box Hopper from set 6. This card's cute. It's an EX Evolve over the 6-drop for 1 red energy. It's a Sparking 10. When you play this card, your opponent cannot activate the skills of battle cards for the duration of the turn. So let's say you play this card and they have a blocker. They can't activate blocker or anything like that. And he's triple strike. So he's a 30k triple strike that can swing for game. You know, if it's an alternative win condition, if your opponent's sitting at 3 life, you know, with little amount of cards in hand and, you know, no energy open, like if this card gets negated, you just essentially wasted a turn. But I only play 1 of him because he's not essential to the winning. I prefer the 8-drop over the 7-drop for sure because he just has so much more versatility. But this is a good finisher. Like I was able to squeaky game out against my teammate Kevin with this card, so it's pretty good. I like it. Worst case, you charge it, and it's a 5k combo. Again, you're not tapping for it for combo power, so it's not too bad. Then we're going to round off the deck with 4 Unbreakable Spirit Son Gokus and 2 East Power Supreme Kais. So I like East Power Supreme Kai, you know, over Champa. I just prefer it. I mean, I don't mind having to declare double strike. I don't think it's better than Champa because you have the option of declaring double strike, because some people do forget and they don't purposely mean to not give their card double strike, but I guess it's an option. I just prefer it because it's a lower cost. There have been situations, me as a pan player, where I've had to hard cast the Supreme Kai to draw a card off my leader, and then just have a 15k body on board that's going to put pressure. So if I ever need to run into that situation, that's fine. Champa's a 16k 3-drop. I mean, essentially it's the same thing, but it's 1 more energy to hard cast it. So I prefer, like I said, being frugal with my energy. So Supreme Kai just works better. And then 4 Unbreakables is for defense. This deck doesn't have to tap out every turn after turn 2. So once you get to your Awakening turn, you can play Unbreakables for defense, so you don't go neg on combo power. And then when you want to blow your opponent out, you can use them offensively to just kind of shotgun in for game if you choose to do on your leader. Because most of the time you're going to be swinging with your leader first to get the draw and give it the active main so that they can't play Mafuba for the rest of the turn. And then you go into your plays. So like if your opponent is sitting at 2 life, you swing with leader and they choose not to negate and you have a crap ton of combo power in your hand, you could just shotgun into these leaders, you know, and you'll draw 4 off Unbreakable, 4 off a super like there's just so much you can do. There's a lot of 5Ks in the deck, so I made this last minute adjustment to make it more of a pseudo super combo and give me offensive and defensive purposes as well. So for the most part, guys, that's the deck. Like I said, this is not going to be the final build. I am working on something else. wanted to share and get it out. I do apologize for the length of this video. I just felt like I needed to explain some of these cards because they are newer. Most of the time my deck profiles don't go longer than like 10 or 12 minutes, so I do apologize for the length of this video. But for those of you who want to just get the list, definitely take a screenshot. Try it out. This is definitely a good starting point in my opinion. And this deck is pretty competitive, I would say. It has really good matchups against like Super Shenron and Skillless Goku, which is, you know, predominantly the meta right now. It's like 50-50 with Broly. Like, you really have to know how to play against that deck because there's really not anything to answer Broly at this point in this deck, but that's what the sideboard is for. But I hope you guys like it. Test it out. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Let me know if there's any changes that you would make. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Shout out to Shenron's Lair for being an awesome online platform for deck building. We swear by Shenron's Lair here at No Counters, No Combos. They're an awesome team. They do awesome work in their community, and they really updated their website and revamped it, and it's looking extra spicy. So if you guys are looking for an online client, definitely check out Shenron's Lair. They post articles and stuff, and you know, the deck builder I think is second to none. So without any further ado, and that being said, we're gonna get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.